and welcome back to the podcast. This is another one of our special series in London. If you're new here, I'm Sheen. I'm the host of the Dream Girl podcast, and today I am so excited to welcome back to the channel, and for the first time on the podcast, the incredible YouTuber and currently podcaster as well, and the casual magician herself, Jade.
Hello.
Casual
magician. I've not heard that one before.
I like it. It kind of makes you sound like a not serious magician.
So true.
Right?
Just an amateur magician.
Yeah, just trying. How are you, Jade?
I'm good, thank you. How are you today?
Good. Can you believe it's been 3 years?
No.
Mad.
Time goes so quickly. It's crazy. Yeah, the last time I saw you, we were
in Cambridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was before I moved to Dubai.
I know. Yeah, you were like in the preparation stages at that time.
I was. But tell me what has been happening in the past 3 years. You graduated.
I did. So I think when I last saw you, I had just published my book.
Yes.
I remember. The only study guide you'll ever need. What a fancy little name. Yeah, so I had how many years of uni after that? 2 more years.
Yeah.
I studied in Taiwan, in Argentina, and in London.
Yep.
And then graduated about 1.5 years ago, and since moved to Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to London first, was kicked out of a flat in London.
I know.
Moved to Brighton, started a podcast, and I've just been figuring out life since.
I love that.
Yeah.
So,
and how about you? Tell me about Dubai. I haven't heard like the hot take in real life.
I know. So I moved to Dubai.
Yeah.
And since then, I quit my job 3 times.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
started off as
crazy.
consulting, did the full corporate.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And then did 2 different startups. And then the podcast restarted. And the podcast did well. So now I'm a full-time podcaster.
Wow. And I saw you're teaching other people how to do podcasts now, which is incredible.
It's mad. But the thing is, I was just telling you this before, right? It's so easy to become in the 10% of podcasters around the world just because it's consistency, like everything else, right? But it's been fun because I get a lot of requests, and I thought the best way to do this would be to put everyone together and try to teach it. But I also teach at university.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you teach?
I'm a junior professor.
Wow. Come on, academia. Come on, teacher.
I teach the future of innovation.
Incredible. Related to content creation, tech,
AI.
Nice.
AI. I do a lot of like ethics of AI.
Interesting. Very needed.
Yeah. And very uncharted areas, no one really knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. But
as with a lot of innovation, I suppose there's a huge overlap with imagination and thought leadership and kind of like hypothesis testing.
Yeah, and also for us, it's so new, right? It's completely different to anything we've known, and it grows so quickly.
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep up in the first place. And also, okay, interesting point, because you just graduated from uni, right?
Yeah.
You're practically the same age as my student.
How old are you again? 20?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm in my 30s. I'm 32.
32, okay.
How old are you? Like 22?
No.
Okay.
How old do you think I am? Well, 22. No, I'm 24. I'm turning 25. No, it's not.
How different? She's not 22. She's 22 and a half.
No, do you know what? It actually makes such a difference. I think in your early 20s, the difference between 22 and 25
it's a huge difference.
feels
I agree.
massive. Yeah.
You feel old when you turn 25.
Yeah.
But so you just graduated. Honestly, your generation is a bit tough.
Thank you. In what way are you referring to? Because there are many.
I think, listen, there are things that I like, right? Is the fact that, first of all, you question everything, which is really good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and I feel bad for them, especially the current students, because they spend a lot of their formative years at home during COVID. So social skills are a little bit lacking.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but...
Yeah. I think we also question more about what we want from our careers, right? We don't want to work somewhere that we think is doing awful things in the world. We want to be doing something meaningful with our lives. Yeah. We demand that from our employers.
But you know what? I see that a lot in my generation now. Everyone is quitting their corporate jobs or all the jobs that they trained for their entire life.
Wow.
You keep seeing people becoming startup founders or pivoting into a more creative field. And I think finally we're breaking free slowly from the chains of, but these are the only types of jobs that are respected around the world.
Yes.
Which is pretty good. But how did you navigate this whole situation when you graduated about what's next?
With difficulty. Yeah, I think I've always had quite an untraditional career path because I fell into being a YouTuber.
How did that happen, actually?
Yeah, so when I was 15 and doing my GCSEs, I was really stressed. I remember going on YouTube and just looking for advice. I didn't have an older sibling, had someone just shared how they managed to get through their exams, and there was nothing. And so I thought maybe I can be that person. So when I went through my GCSEs and I did really well, I just picked it up as a side hobby, making videos to help other students. Wow. But I had no intention of becoming a YouTuber or it being this long-term thing. And I never really watched vlogs. I didn't really, know much about the influencer scene. And so I find it kind of ironic that I've charted my own path within content creation.
Wait, are you about to hit 10 years?
8 years.
8 years?
Yeah, 8 years.
That's a long time.
It is a long time.
But also, I'm just thinking about it because when I started the whole YouTube game, it was old news, right? And it's so easy to know what to do because someone around you has done it before and you can just Google how to do it.
living with Ali, come on.
That's what I meant. Someone around you has done it before. But when you did it, it was not something that people were trying and doing. You just did it. But
what's ironic is at the time, I was told by everyone in my circles that it was too saturated. And this is pre-short form content. At that time, that was still what people were saying. And so I remember the only quote that made me think I could do it was this quote that's like, everything has already been said, but it's never been said by you. And how, just the way that I might share my message might be enough to resonate with people or change lives in a new way, even though I'm not reinventing the wheel necessarily.
I really like that.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. And, for me, a lot of the aspiring podcasters, they always ask me the same question. Is it saturated now? Is it too late? And I always ask them, when you're applying for a job, are you the only one who applies for the job? But you still apply knowing very full well that a lot of other people are applying for the same things because you do still think that there's something about you that might be different. And it's the same thing about podcasting, right? Even I'm doing a women-focused podcast. So many people are doing that. But it's just the way I approach it is different to someone else. And that's what you bring. And if you think that that's something worth sharing, I think you should. And I love that. And for you, honestly, Jade, everyone who I've met since I've moved here, I'm not moved here, I've been visiting, everyone was asking me, who's the lineup for this season? Yeah. Every time I mention you, they're like, oh my God, the study tuber. The OG.
What can I say? No, do you know what? It's actually so cute because it's been 8 years since I started my channel. But I would say almost every day I have someone being like, you're the reason I got through my GCSEs and A-levels.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel emotional because it just feels like, people speak about legacy. I do feel like even if I'm not a study tuber now, that I have left some kind of legacy in just helping so many students get through their exams and hopefully get onto a degree they want to do or find a path that they love. So yeah, it feels 100%.
Amazing. And the good thing about YouTube is it's forever content, right?
Yeah,
even if you don't do it anymore, the content you've done is already there, still helping generations after you. And I think it's beautiful. It is definitely legacy. I think that's the right way to say it. And you should be proud of that.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Going back to the question of how, of course, we're going to get onto how your content creation journey evolved. But how did you said you always knew that you were going to be a little bit different after graduating. But I personally remember how stressful it was when graduation hits and you're like, now I must have my life figured out. And there's 100%. No longer a syllabus of, this is what you do.
Yes.
So how did you navigate that? Hey, dreamers, quick pause from the convo. If you are wondering what the Dreamers Digest is, it's my exclusive online community where I share behind the scenes goodies, lessons from building this podcast, and all the juicy stuff that never makes it to the final cut. If you're not in it yet, check the link in the show notes and come join us. It's 100% free. Also, shocking fact, 89% of you watching this on YouTube right now are not even subscribed. Wild, right? So if that's you, go ahead and hit that button. It would mean the world to me. And now, super exciting news. We launched the Podcast Academy. This is where I've poured everything I've learned from taking this show to 150 million views and turning it into a real business. It's 10 powerful modules packed with tools to help you launch, grow, and actually monetize your podcast. You'll even get the chance to submit your episode for personal feedback from me and my team. If you've been thinking about starting a show or scaling the one you already have, this is your sign. Click the link in the description box below to learn more. Now, back to the episode.
So the majority of my friends actually moved to New York because I studied at a US-based institution. And so I had a phase of time wondering if I should also move to New York, not because I like the city, not because I wanted to be there, but just because when everyone around you is doing something, you feel called to do something similar, right? It's like classic peer pressure. But I felt this really intense gut feeling to just go home, to go back to my family home, to like almost embrace the uncertainty and to be okay with not knowing what was coming next. And I felt really burnt out coming out of university. So I'd studied in 7 countries across the degree. I had this YouTube channel. I wrote a book, just the degree itself was so intense, but the nature of my life was just so much going on all the time. And I thought, why not allow myself to rest for once? Why not give myself grace and allow myself to just figure it out as it comes? Like I don't need to have all the answers the second I graduate. So I went home and watched, the Instagram stories of many friends, like going into what looked like their dream careers and living their best lives. And it was hard to be like, I don't know what I'm doing next. But I am so grateful that I did that because it taught me so much about life and how you don't always need to have the answers or to know what's next in order to know that you still have value as a human and to kind of separate my worth from achievements or the story that I tell others of what I'm doing.
Well, that takes a lot of emotional resilience though, especially, we all play the comparison game, unfortunately. So whenever you're seeing everyone else doing it, I remember when I was applying for jobs, it took me a while to get into consulting and everyone else was getting it. And I was like, oh my God, now what? What am I going to do? But what is your approach to kind of like push through these times of uncertainty?
Yeah. For me, I think it's leaning into the identity of not having it figured out. And I think, when someone asks you, oh, what are your plans? I think rather than like lying to them and like coming up with an answer, which is what we all do because it feels safe, right?
Yeah.
To be like, oh yeah, well, I've applied to like XYZ and I'm hoping to get this one and I'm sure everything will be fine. I'll be living in my like bougie penthouse. And yeah, I think rather than telling a whole story, I think it's fine to just embrace that right at this very moment, you don't know and that you're figuring it out. And I think that actually gives you the freedom to assess all the kinds of opportunities that are available to you because you're not pigeonholing yourself to one story yet. So yeah, for me, that was helpful, leaning into it. And, all the classic mental health things like journaling was so helpful to become aware of the narratives that I was telling myself in that time and to not let myself slip into, like low self-esteem issues or thinking that I'm not worthy of the career that I want to have. And also trying to reframe the opportunities of this time of not knowing. Like there's very few moments in life where you get to like choose where to go next. Most of the time we're like already on a path. And so there's so much possibility and hope and potential for optimism.
Wow. And where has this led you to now? Doesn't mean you figured it out, but for now, what are we doing?
So 2 main things. Firstly, a brand new approach to how I create content.
Okay.
So I recently started a podcast called Finding Your Casual Magic. And that's been a big part of me exploring my content creation related to mindfulness and inspiring others to not place their ideas of happiness in the big things in life, right? Like waiting for the big achievements or the big exam results, but instead to find joy in the little moments of every day, which I call casual magic.
Yeah.
So, like the first sip of herbal tea in the morning or appreciating when a stranger smiles at you in the street and realizing that is just as much joy as, your wedding day could be. So that has been a big part of my journey now, kind of leaning into mental health and mindfulness. But also I have redefined my passion for education and realizing that I really want to make the education system better. Okay. And I'm on a path to figuring out where I want to place myself. So last year I worked in ed tech. I spoke to so many founders, spoke to investors, did panels. I didn't really document a lot of this journey, but I was trying to work out, do I want to found something? Is this where I want to be? Yeah. But I kind of realized that, at least in my experience, that ed tech feels like it's one of two things. It's either a supplement to an already really bad system, or it's only for the wealthy. You have all these really interesting, innovative schools, but they're only for the kids who can pay. And so that process has kind of forced me to come back around to policy and thinking about the system and pedagogy and curriculum and how reform happens in the education in the education system. And now I'm just trying to work out what I want to do. Do I want to go into policy? Do I want to go into teaching to learn more about the system from the ground up?
But just because ed tech has been done that way, does that mean you can't do something that doesn't fall into these two categories, you think?
I think through the nature of having investors involved.
Yeah, for the funding, yeah.
Right, funding, you need to make things scalable. How do you make things scalable? You need more people to pay.
Yep.
Who has money? Generally wealthier families. Or wealthier schools, independent schools. There's just a lot of equity issues that come up there. Also, one of my best friends, she's an edtech founder in Vietnam. And one of the biggest problems that she found was the difficulty of providing both quality education, quality educational solutions, but also scaling.
Right.
And how those two things are often in opposition with one another. Yeah. Because you want it to be very a human-centered approach and a personalized approach. But in order to scale, you often have to take away some of that human element.
When you think about the education system in general, which part of it interests you the most, or which challenge do you think is the one that you would want to tackle?
Yeah, there's honestly so many, and it's really difficult. And this is why I'm dedicating the first 6 months of this year to just having conversations with loads of different stakeholders in the education system to work out where I want to place myself. But I'm really interested in teaching and the problems that teachers face. And there's 6 questions posed by the Teachers Commission in the UK, and I find them really interesting. They're the kind of questions how do we actually make teaching a cool and interesting career? How do we incentivize that? Especially nowadays when young people are looking into hybrid careers, they want remote work options, they want more free time.
More impactful work.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue that teaching is impactful.
But that's what I'm saying.
But
teaching would make sense because it's impactful.
Make sense. True. But right now, we associate being a teacher with burnout.
Yep.
Right? Underpaid.
Yep.
Doing insane hours because you come home and you have to do all the homework and the marking, emotionally so exhausting. And you're just not being paid for the emotional labor. So questions like that really interest me because I know that there are so many incredible educators who have amazing ideas and want to make the classroom a brilliant place and want students to be the best versions of themselves, but they're in a system that makes it very difficult to do that.
Yeah.
So those kind of questions are interesting. I'm also very passionate about mental health and the many things that go into that question. So, obviously with the rise of social media and Gen Alpha and Gen Z just having a shorter attention span, how do you tackle that in schools? How do you make the system a place for these individuals who are struggling to pay attention to anything longer than 2 minutes? And I think it just raises so many questions about what is good pedagogy? How do we create a curriculum around active learning? Just needing to make a system that is for 2025 and the future challenges that we're going to face as humanity.
But that's so exciting. I'm excited for you, just you telling me all of this. I think, and also because you've been teaching online for so long, so you have done it, you're good at it.
Yeah.
So now is the time to definitely try to find another way to keep doing that.
Yeah.
How exciting. I think, but honestly, I see you as an edtech founder.
Interesting.
I do.
Why?
I feel like you have what it takes to because you actually care about the problem, first of all, right? It's not just like something that you fell into. You care about it. You understand the landscape. And also you have so many bubbling ideas when it comes to solutions, right? And I think you are probably an investor's dream because you also have the proven track record of being able to do things that you set your mind to. So I think eventually once you hit the right idea, I can see it happening.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting because my first thought is I need to understand the system better, or like I need to understand the problem better. And like part of me feels like I should have been a teacher for like a year or two to actually be on the ground with students, you know, in a classroom setting to understand the problems more. But yeah, who knows? Maybe.
But what's stopping you from doing that? You could still do that. I guess you need a PGCE and all of that.
I know. I've looked into it, being like, do I want to do this? But yeah, I don't know. These next 6 months of me being like, what do I do?
That's another fun time then. That's you figuring this out. That's going to be fun. But you know, for your content, I feel like the internet saw you grow up.
I know.
Right? You went from like being a 15-year-old to actually becoming an adult. How did you navigate that? Kind of like, as you said, you're no longer a study tuber. I know you did travel vlogs for a very long time, and now you do a bit of everything. You've done productivity, you've done a lot, and now you're doing the podcast. How did you kind of like pivot, and how did the audience receive that?
Yeah. Oh God, it's so difficult to rebrand yourself.
It is
because so much of being a good creator, a creator that people follow, is creating a strong brand. And a brand is just a story that people know about you, right? So it's the things that people know I care about. They know that I care about learning and excellence in an exam context and doing well. And even all these like almost side parts of a brand, like that I love travel and that I'm vegan. And, you know, there's all these things that people come to know of you. But if you ever want to break out of those things that people know of you, it's terrifying. It's terrifying personally because change is just difficult in general. Growth is hard in general. But when you have thousands of people giving you their opinions on already scary transitions in your life, it's very hard. And I think one of the biggest things I've had to learn growing up online is to not attach my sense of self-worth to people's opinions of me. And we all know we have to do that, and that it's hard and that judgment's hard. But yeah, like I've gone through such a journey in redefining my value in terms of my intrinsic worth beyond views, beyond the success of my platforms, allowing myself to experiment with new types of content, allowing that content to be received well or not. And I think that's true evolution, and knowing that you will eventually reach like new audiences who care about the content that you're making too. So it's never a loss, it's just a transition.
Yeah, and someone said that to me one time because I said, you know how YouTube introduced the new where you can A/B test your thumbnails?
Yeah.
So I tried it, and that video tanked. And I was like, this is a good video.
Interesting.
Why is it tanking so hard? And then I remember asking someone else in the industry, and he was like, but you know, it's testing. When you test something, sometimes you don't get a good result. So it's a test. So because it's testing, it's also splitting the views, right? So then obviously if one of them is not picking up, it impacts the overall. And I was like, I never thought of it that way. I never thought during a testing time, some things won't work. Yeah. That's the whole point of testing. And I think, you're right. And honestly, I feel like for you, your audience kind of like navigated it with you.
I think what I realized is that people weren't just there for study tips. Right, that people were also there for me going through my study process. And I think when people feel connected to you as a human, then they're willing to watch you go through new challenges, even if they don't relate to the things that, you know,
of course,
that you're now going through.
But also you talk about something else, about how you've kind of like tried to learn how to not attach your self-worth based on external validation. But that's a very interesting point, because I feel like especially us who are in the public eye, you get a lot of hate, you get a lot of love, right?
You do.
And someone told me the day you know that you're no longer emotionally attached to that external validation is when a good comment doesn't affect you as much as a bad comment doesn't affect you. Do you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But I get gassed when I get a good comment.
And it's hard because obviously the positive feelings that we have from receiving praise inspire us to keep creating.
Exactly.
And they remind you why you do what you do. But the more that you let the positive ones affect you, the more the negative ones just have to affect you as well. Yeah, because you're placing your self-worth in the opinions of others, be it good or bad. But yeah, I do feel like I'm at a place now where I feel a lot more neutral to comments.
Okay.
And I think it's just like, it's a good and a bad thing, the desensitization, because you know, when I meet someone in person and they tell me that I help them like pass their GCSEs, like in a way there is some desensitization that happens there because you almost get used to this praise about your work being useful and valuable and impactful. But yeah, at the same time, like now when I get a negative comment, I'm like, oh, I've heard that a million times too.
What's new?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess the only opinion that really matters is mine and is the people who know me in real life. And as long as I'm loved by my friends and my family and the people who matter, then like other people's opinions shouldn't bear weight on how I view myself.
But okay, I have two questions. I'll ask the nice one first. What's one of like the cutest memory you have of one of the people who've come up to you about the impact that you've had on them?
Oh, that's such a good question. There's so many. I had a really cute one on a British Airways flight. I don't know why I made that sound like an ad. Shout out
British Airways.
Yeah. The reason I say it is because the guy who came up to me like loved British Airways so much. So this guy, he was the flight attendant.
Okay.
And he just loved BA, which is why I mentioned it's BA. But he was a fan of my channel and he was too nervous to come up and like tell me. And so he got one of the like what do you call them, tissues? Like your handkerchiefs?
Yeah.
What do you call them? Like the ones they use in meals. Like a tissue? I don't know. What would you call it?
I know what you're talking about. The little piece of fabric, right? Yeah. Even I don't know.
Like, is it a handkerchief?
It's not a handkerchief
tissue because it's like cloth.
No, yeah, it's cloth. Tablecloth? Let's go with that.
Yeah, so he wrote a note on the little cloth from the meal. And then he got another flight attendant to come and give it to me. And it was like a whole message about how he wouldn't be working on this flight now if it wasn't for me helping him get his A-levels. And it's like his dream job now, and he just loves aviation. He just loves flying so much. He's like, you helped me like get on this path. And then obviously I wanted to speak to him. So I was like, who wrote this? Yeah. And I asked the flight attendant. She's like, oh yeah, it's my colleague, but he's like really nervous to come and say hello. And so I remember like sticking my head out and like seeing him down in the aisle, and he was like looking so sheepish, and I'm like, come and say hi. And then he came over and we just had a lovely conversation, and he was just amazing and like such an inspirational young person. And I just felt so honoured that I could be a part of his journey and be a part of him finding this career that he adores. And also he gave me some free snacks.
Which
so that
love.
was, that like my whole career was worth it.
It was
now.
worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's so nice. And I think it's so important to remember these moments, especially when you're like in moments of doubt, when you're creating content. Yes. It's really good because I think we forget, especially people like you, right? You create content because you care. Mm-hmm. You do it because you want to see the impact. You don't care about the numbers as much.
No.
That's not the primary concern. It comes later. But, you know, it's like, it's good to remind yourself of that. But the other thing is, I wanted to ask you is, now that you've started the podcast, how do you see any difference between being a normal content creator and a podcaster?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yes.
Yeah?
Because obviously the length of a podcast piece of content is just very different to clicking on like a 10-minute YouTube video that you've made. And so I've had to do a lot of readjustment in my brain around numbers because I think I've grown so used to seeing large numbers on my videos, right? Yep. And now all of a sudden to realize that 2,000 listeners on a podcast is actually worth a lot, right? Like if it's like an hour and a half of content and that many people, and it has like a really high retention rate,
it's a big commitment.
Like that's actually worth a lot. And so having to almost think about the abstract numbers in terms of real people listening to a valuable piece of content for that long, that's been a reframe I've had to do.
But do you enjoy having someone else?
I love interviewing guests. That is my favorite thing about having a podcast, is that I feel like I am constantly learning and developing from the wisdom of the guests that I bring on. And I get to choose who I bring on, which is so cool.
Exactly.
It's an opportunity to just have great conversations. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I get these questions all the time, which is, what kept you going when the podcast was still growing?
Yeah.
And I was like, for me, it was purely selfish. I loved it.
Yeah.
I love learning from the guests, and I would always pick people who I'm like, oh, I want to learn this from this person, this from this person.
How
And
do you choose your guests?
literally based on that.
Really?
I think of curiosity. So a lot of the times, obviously, first few seasons, I was new, nervous. I would only ask friends or friends of friends to come on.
Yeah.
But now I reach out to anybody, and you realize how accessible the world is.
So true.
It blew my mind. The type of people I reached out to who replied to me, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know that saying of you don't ask, you don't get.
So true.
Right? So you gotta ask. And for example, I'll give you the story. You know Wizard Liz? I don't know if you right?
Oh my God, isn't that like your best interview so far? Yeah.
It is. It hit like 2 million.
Wow.
The full episode, right? Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But the reason I messaged her was because I went to my friend's flat. And when we were parking, I was like, I recognize this parking lot. And
Does she live in Dubai?
Yeah.
Oh.
This is where she takes her selfies all the time. So, and then he was like, you know what? I think I've seen her in the lift once. So I was like, okay, let me message her.
Yeah.
So I literally sent a DM on Instagram, and she doesn't follow anyone on Instagram, by the way. She has 0 followers. She follows 0 people. So then I messaged her, be like, hey, I'm not a stalker, but I think you live here. And if you are in Dubai, I would love to have you on the podcast. Within 2 minutes, she replied.
Wow.
And she was like, you're not going to believe this. 3 days ago, my manager was telling me, maybe you should go on a podcast.
Stop it.
She was like, I'm flying in a week. Do you want to do it tomorrow? And we did it.
Tomorrow. Crazy. You don't ask, you don't get.
Literally.
Crazy,
right?
yeah.
So then you realize people, and I think on a podcast, people love it. They want to share their story.
Yeah, so true.
They want to have a conversation. So honestly, now I just ask anyone who I want to learn. And I think either they have a really cool story that I think deserves to be shared, or it's just someone that I admire.
And how do you, thank you, honoured. Genuinely though. I was going to say, how do you go about doing research for guests? What does that process look like, and how has that evolved over the podcast?
So I used to be a lot more detailed researcher in the past because I think nerves, right?
Sure.
So then
you read every page of the book.
Yeah, I would. I would read everything I could about them. I would watch every interview they've done before. I will write down their intro, their bio, and write out specific topics about what they want to talk about. But now I do nothing.
Wow.
I'll tell you that I don't prep unless it's a guest that I don't know and who has asked to come on the podcast.
Yes.
But then I have a call with them.
Okay, nice.
And I discuss
build that rapport.
Yeah, and and I see if we will have chemistry on the podcast. And then I already asked them what are the topics they're interested about. I can see what there's a little bit of fire behind what, you know? And then I'm like, okay, now I know what to talk about. But I think because these are people I genuinely want to learn from, I already know what is the general direction of the podcast.
Because you're reaching out to them for a reason.
Exactly.
You're curious.
And also, you know, in the past when I prepared, very rarely I would go through the list. Yeah. And you always go on a random tangent, which I'm sure you've experienced now. So now I know it's going to happen anyway. So I'm like, as long as I have a few topics in my head that I know I want to learn from, then we just take it from there.
Damn, amazing.
Yeah. How do you prep?
Very different. I am at stage 1.
That's good.
Yeah. Like if they have a book, I read the book. You know, especially the first few, God, I literally did watch every interview that these people have ever done.
That's normal.
And I'm like, oh, how can I ask them novel questions?
Yeah,
you know, especially people who are so seasoned as interviewees.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I want this to be interesting for them.
Yes.
Yeah, but also I try and follow a really rough story arc of kind of like, because everyone has a thing that they talk about, right? So I like to ask kind of, who were you before that thing? What was the turning point? How did you get onto that thing? And then what's your best advice for people? That's like the rough arc I have in my head, but obviously many tangents come along and you want to explore other ideas. But that's been helpful.
But that's helpful because it gives you body to the episode as well. So you know, now that we've explored this, let me go on this, let me go on this. So that's pretty good. For me, I guess now that you're seeing it, I don't think it was conscious. But what I do is more kind of like currently what's going on. Yes. And then go a little bit into like a main pivot that happened.
Interesting.
In their life. Because initially I cared a lot about pivot, mostly because I wanted to get out. So I needed people to tell me how did they get out. So then it was a lot about pivots and then mindsets. So I think mindset shifts are really what we need nowadays, right? And that's why I've been asking you a lot about what pushed you through all these different changes in your life. So yeah, that's how it works. But okay, question for you. A lot of people, especially content creators in general, not just podcasters, what stops them from growing or from putting themselves out there is a lot of people are very self-conscious and they think that, what will people think? What will my friends and family think? And how can I protect my privacy? Yeah. You've done it for many years now. So what advice do you have?
Ooh. Getting over the fear of being seen is one of the most difficult but essential things everyone has to do. And I think it's whether you want to be a content creator or whether you just want to create a LinkedIn account, right? It's the same thing. It's allowing yourself to be seen enough for people to have opinions of you and to potentially misconstrue something that you've done or said. And it's allowing other people to think whatever they want, whether it's good or bad. And that is terrifying. Honestly, I think you just have to bite the bullet one day and just do it. I don't think that you can go through the getting over the fear in theory. I think it's something that you can only get over through action. So if anyone listening wants to start the thing, I think they just have to do it. I think one day, maybe this is a women's podcast, so I'd be like, after your period, in your follicular phase, around ovulation, when you're feeling the most inspired, your hormones are helping you feel confident. Be like, now is the time. Maybe when you're crying on your period, it's not the best time to start the thing. But yeah, when you've got a moment of just inspiration, just do it and think later. And I think that you learn so many of the lessons on the way, on the journey. So you mentioned privacy and boundaries, and that's something that I've just had to learn through trial and error. So one of the most difficult things I had to learn was I signed myself up to potentially receiving hate, but anyone that I bring into my videos has not made that same educated choice. And when I was 16, 17 on my channel, I would vlog with my brother and he was 13, 14 at the time. He was this teenage boy and people loved him on the channel. He loved being on the channel. It was all fun. It was all good until people at his school started bullying him. Oh. Yeah, for being in my videos. And they would play my videos with him in it and make fun of him. And boys of that age can just be so mean. And it got to the point where we had to move his school.
Oh, it was that bad?
It was that bad. And he wasn't in my videos for a long time again because we were all scarred by it. And he had to go on a whole journey himself of allowing himself to be seen online again. But that was a huge learning curve for me to realize that I need to be very intentional in the way that I share others in my life and to make sure that they know what they're getting themselves in for if they are in my content, which is why I'm also now very private about things like my love life. I would never casually share my partner because I know how the internet would get invested in them or would do the deep dive research. And also, I'm a curious person, right? I have stalked many a person.
We're all nosy.
And so I get it. But I think having those level of boundaries and protecting elements of your life that you're not ready for the world to know about is so important.
Of course. But you did do a video about your heartbreak recently, which I thought was so brave of you to share because it was, first of all, very relatable. And I thought, it's so nice and so refreshing to see someone share that. What made you think that, okay, let me do that. Let me share it.
Yeah. It was especially weird because I never shared that I was in a relationship for 4 years. Yeah. So yeah, I managed to keep that really quiet. I literally lived with him for so long and just never
Nobody
mentioned
knew.
that. No one knew. I felt trapped being in that relationship for about a year, the last year of that relationship. I don't know if anyone listening has ever felt like they want to break up with someone, but they're too scared to do it. It is the worst feeling in the world because you still have so much love for this person. Maybe you can imagine your whole lives together on paper and you kind of love that life. Everyone in your life knows that you love that life. And so the thought of breaking up with that imagined future is the scariest thing ever. And I know that if I had had more representation of that feeling and the bravery required to act on that feeling, then I would have been able to kind of free myself earlier. But it just took having some really incredible friends empower me around what I want in my life and how I want to feel in order for me to have the bravery to break up with him. And so I thought that maybe I could be that representation for someone who needs it. And it's been deeply moving to receive so many stories from people who were touched enough by that video to have the bravery to make difficult choices in their life.
Yeah. And how have you been since?
Honestly, really good. Now I'm actually very good friends with my ex.
That's good.
Yeah. I think we had the kind of relationship where that was always on the cards. We went no contact for almost a year and very much did our own processing and healing. And yeah, now he's a very good friend. And it's crazy to think where I was emotionally a year ago compared to now, because I feel so empowered. I feel so free. I feel liberated. I feel just amazing now. And I'm just so proud of myself for having the courage to make that hard choice.
And you should be.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you one thing. My way of looking at people around me is always, I try to remove education, their work, all of the titles, and think, how would I introduce that person?
I love that.
Right? And for you, when I think of you, you know what comes to mind first?
What?
It's actually love and friendship.
Wow.
I see you as someone who can get along with about just anybody, and you make so much effort in maintaining your relationship. And I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
I
do pride myself in my relationships. I invest so much time, energy, love, care, discipline in my relationships that I think a lot of people only apply to their careers.
Yeah. I mean, friendship is important, right? And I think the older I'm getting, the more I value the friendships that I have. And I think they definitely play a role into making me who I am and into building me up as well. And I think especially female friendship is so underrated.
100%. Can you tell me about one of your best female friendships?
Oh, yeah, of course. So it's currently the friend I'm living with.
Oh.
So when I started uni as a fresher, she was already a grad. So she was doing her master's as well there. And the first time we met, this is so funny because the first time we met was at a freshers dinner and she was already there. And she was my chaperone from my college. So she walked me to the dinner.
Yeah.
And she did not remember me. The next day I saw her on the street and I waved at her and she blanked. She was like,
oh my God, that's so offensive. You're like, was I that unmemorable?
I was like, oh. And she was like, I didn't see you. And she eventually became my best friend, right? And it's been I think 12, 13 years of us being friends. And she's the one who moved me to Dubai. She came with me, helped me settle into Dubai. And then she went to Brussels. We've kind of navigated life changes together. And the one thing I'll tell you is she's my biggest bully. She's the one who puts me in check.
Yeah.
But it's also just I feel like I have no filter with her. I am allowed to be fully myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful.
That is so beautiful. That level of intimacy within platonic love that I think a lot of people reserve only for their romantic partner.
Yeah.
To let all guards down.
Tell me about one of your most cherished friendship.
I have so many. Two of my best friends, we call ourselves the collective brain.
And who has it right now?
Yeah, the collective brain. I have the brain right now. So every single Tuesday we have a collective brain sync, which is a 2-hour call that we've done for almost 2 years. And it's the most special time in my calendar. And I do everything in my power not to miss it every single week. And we come to this call and we each get to take up space for at least half an hour, 40 minutes, and just talk about what's going on in our life in the most vulnerable way. So whether it's career stuff or love life or literally anything, how we're feeling that day, it's explored in this really safe space. And I just feel so deeply nourished every time I leave this call. And often we'll enter and be dead, right? Because you've just had a work day that maybe things went wrong or you're just feeling really off and you don't want to now get on this call, but every single time we leave feeling better. And I think that to me is the power of nurturing friendship, is when you can show up in all of your states and be loved in those states. Then it's the most beautiful thing.
Wow. And now moving forward, what's next for Jade?
Great question.
Of course, we know we're going to navigate the education. In a non-work way.
In a non-work way.
Yeah.
Something really big for me has been embracing my queer identity. So realizing that I'm queer. It's been about 5 years of me overcoming internalized homophobia. It's been a very long journey. And so I can't wait to keep shining into my queer confidence and being more vocal online about my journey to figuring that out, and hopefully being able to inspire more young people who are questioning their sexuality and have a really tough time with that journey to know that it's okay to be themselves.
Oh, that's beautiful. And what's your parting message? Can you believe we've run out of time already?
Oh my God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like I just blinked and it's over.
What's your parting message for the audience?
My parting message is that you are enough exactly as you are. I think, especially if you're undergoing challenge or uncertainty or you feel lost, it's really easy to feel like you're not enough and that you need a career title to tell you that you're enough. But I just want you to know that every single stage of your journey, you're enough. You have intrinsic worth.
And reminder to find the casual magic.
Find the casual magic. We didn't even discuss casual magic, really.
We didn't. We didn't.
Next time.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming. And I can't wait to see how you change the world of education.
Thank you. Yay!